Welcome to episode
13.
13 of So You Want to Be a Star in the Music Business. This episode, I felt that before we started recording, was going to turn into an hour discussion, mainly because Mitch and I had a chance to go to an open mic event the other night that just raised so many problems in one situation that I couldn't believe. But we're going to try to keep this short and keep it focused. I'm going to have Mitch just basically start the story. But when you go to a venue that is so completely underprepared or unprepared, it just causes so many situations all the way around, whether you're an artist that's performing or just even somebody that's just in the audience trying to watch performances. It just adds for an overall night that could go a whole lot better than it does. But it just leads us the discussion of unprepared venues for either venue owners and operators who could either care less or
They
yeah,
just had their the purpose of their business, which is true, is to sell drinks and get people in the door, and the act that is there that particular night will be gone the next day. So why go out of your way to do anything special? The idea is just to provide entertainment for the audience that brings them in. That's not it's certainly not every club, and when you find a club or a promoter who really wants to put on a good show, you really appreciate them. Um, the situation being that even if this club has been around a long time, they get very complacent, and basically they don't even read your contract or contract rider. They just sign it and make sure they're going to pay you whatever they said it is or not pay you.
hmm
Some of them will even do that. Um, but you get your audience that may have been out in the rain and cold waiting online an extra hour because they didn't open the doors when they advertised they were going to. The issue for the artist is how prepared can you be for the things that may be thrown in your face as you show up. Um, Biggest one, you say, well, I'm going to get dressed there. Well, if there's no dressing room,
you better hope.
right. Now, if you have a booking agreement that says I'm provided a dressing room and there has to be a mirror in it, I need a bathroom, and then you show up,
hmm
and this has happened more than a dozen times to a lot of groups that I know and who are even big name groups, where they arrive, there's no dressing room, there's no entrance to the stage from behind the stage, which means that in the rain they are sitting in their limo or their car or in some little room, and they're going to have to walk through the audience, which now brings up the issue: can the club afford security?
But the crazy thing is, they signed the contract saying that there was a dressing room or that your request that you put in there, like there was no issue with the request. So you're showing up assuming that everything is okay
Right.
in terms of dressing room. So now you're walking from your car in the parking lot through the audience when there's no security.
And the job of your road manager is to advance the show, which would be to ask, do you have this? Do you have that? And you can't argue with a club that has no backstage. They don't. Whether you want a dressing room or not, you then have to adapt. So, again, a good road manager is going to be able to find this out in advance so that you can prepare. Hopefully, you'll just work in wonderful clubs, but depending on the level of your career at this point, you may not have any choice. So, that's what we're really talking about, a situation where you don't have control, which most artists are in.
Right.
Right. So, you have to think ahead. Along with that, what happens if you're on stage and things go wrong?
Which I just couldn't really believe that this was going down. I mean, you have a situation where either the step to the stage is broken, or the cord from the microphone falls out, or the three microphones they do have don't work and the battery dies, and it's just so many technical difficulties, I'll say, that are going on, and it just kind of throws off the artist. You're not prepared, or they tell you that you're going on at 10, but you go on at midnight, so now they kind of threw you off for your time, and you have to mentally stay in there and try to keep your same level of excitement to perform the same level of show that you would have performed if you were going on at the time you expected.
And as you hear, we could probably go on and on and on about the pitfalls to expect. For those of you who are just starting out, all you care about is I need a place to try out my material and see how it works. The problem is, are you presenting it in its best light? Are you doing enough of your homework? If you are a singer and you're only due to sing 2 songs in an open mic night, the question is, are you communicating with your audience? It is not just about singing a song. If you are reading a poem, are you going to bury your face in a book and read the poem? And even if you have it memorized, do you know what it means? Does it mean something to you personally? Does the person in the 10th row know that you care about it and that you are trying to look them in the eye and tell them why they should be listening to you and what it means to them emotionally, so that they don't get bored, they don't get up and go to the bathroom, they don't yawn, they don't turn you off. Again, just the other night, we saw, I'd say 23 out of 25 people. I could have been asleep at home and gotten as much from that. And some of them had talent, but they weren't communicating to me. And again, trying to keep this short, for those of you who play stadiums, if you tell me, this is my personal pet peeve, you tell me, are we having fun yet? Or let me hear you scream. Well, I'm going to scream when you give me a reason to. I am not the type of person who screams because you tell me. And it doesn't make me have more fun. So not only do you prepare your songs or your poetry or your guitar playing, you prepare your words to communicate to an audience, to reach them. You want to bring them into who you are.
Right.
There is no way that Bruce Springsteen goes on stage and wings it. He knows what he's going to say between songs, what's going to happen. He may do some improv, that's great. He may ad-lib a little bit. He knows what he's going to talk about, and so should you. And you should have more to say than just screaming out, are we having fun yet?
Y'all better get up and clap. And you don't want to feel like this guy's going to punch you in the face if you don't do what he says. And you don't want, people just sound angry. So you can't tell the audience to do this and do that. And y'all look bored. And that's because you didn't get up and perform anything worthwhile. So make sure your talent is straight first. Make sure you understand how to communicate with this audience. Just be yourself. Be personable. Talk to these people in between sets and know what to say if the mic falls down. And just plan for the worst and know how to adapt to it. And your talent will speak for itself, and you'll get people excited.
We're going to talk about training and where to learn this stuff if it's not natural for you in one of the next 2 episodes. And on that, I think the only thing we, again, want to say is don't lose the dream, but be prepared, work at it. If you are a plumber, you need to learn about pipes. If you are a singer or a rapper, you don't just copy somebody you've seen on TV and write a few lines by yourself. They may be wonderful, but what are you doing so that you are better than the person you saw on TV,
right,
or unique from the person on TV? And most importantly, it's the hardest thing to do in rap. Imagine there's someone in your audience who has never heard your record before. How do you let them know what you're talking about if you're speaking a mile a minute? You make sure you're
screaming into the mic.
And screaming. You make sure your sound person knows how to EQ your mics. You practice trying to make it clear. You try to take the message of it and make sure you're looking at us and let us know you care about what you're saying, not just trying to remember your words. That is very difficult. No one's saying it's easy. But that's why you don't just get up there and assume you're a star. Work at it.
You never know who's watching you.
Right. And for all of you extremely talented people out there, just keep going. We're just trying to give you a few hints. So we know you're all at different levels of your career. We've heard from plenty of people already who are saying, oh, that's not how I work it. That doesn't mean something I do. Well, wait until you get screwed in the business, which may not happen until you're a few years in. And then you're going to go, gee, I wish I had thought about this or thought about that. And all we're trying to do is give you some hints of what you need to think about. And hopefully you're spending 45 minutes to an hour every day actually trying to do some work to make yourself better.
Yep.
On that note,
well, that's it. Again, I'm Kevin Curtin. This is Mitch Weiss.
It's MWEntGroup, which is at the website. And also
follow us on Twitter. At _MWEG.
And we appreciate you being there.
With that, see you on the next episode.